Okay, so video 7, the final video for the third set of notes. This one is a bit about the organisms that are in the soil and human influence on soil. Well, there are different creatures that live in the soil, and one of the main most important organisms that plays a role in defining the qualities of the soil are bacteria. There are lots of different types of bacteria that live in the soil, and they're very important because they control the levels of nitrogen there. Nitrogen is essential for plants because they use it to make DNA and RNA and proteins, which make up a big part of their structure. The bacteria in that case are very important. You have certain species of bacteria that take nitrogen from the air and convert it into a form that plants can absorb it, kind of like a friendly bacteria. But you also have bacteria then that will turn it back into the form that is in the air, which are bad bacteria. You've also got bacteria that break down the dying and decaying matter and turn it into a form that plants can use. So making sure that the conditions are very good for the bacteria are essential. Some of those bacteria, the friendly ones, the ones that create things for the compounds that plants will favour, they're usually aerobic. They produce their energy in the presence of oxygen, so they need plenty of oxygen, and they whereas the bad bacteria are essentially anaerobic. And often some organisms, species of bacteria are killed in the presence of oxygen, some of these bad bacteria. Well, how can we actually... so other species as well then. One of the main ones are earthworms. Worms are actually a very essential part to any gardener will tell you that it's fantastic to have them in the soil, and you can actually buy them in large numbers and add them to the soil. And the reason why they're so important is that they, although they don't break down organic matter themselves, they eat organic matter themselves, they ingest matter and convert it into and break it up into smaller and smaller pieces so that it's easier for bacteria to break it down and quicker for them to break it down into forms that the plants can use. So how do we actually influence this then? Well, humans can change the conditions in the soil so that they favour the bacteria that we want. Basically, we want oxygen in the soil because it'll favour these good bacteria. So we need to find ways to promote this. Well, if the soil gets saturated with water, first of all, the oxygen finds it difficult to diffuse down to the plants. To the bacteria. So by draining away water through using ditches, through using special pipes in the drainage pipes underneath the soil, those sorts of things take the moisture, the excess moisture away, and therefore prevent the soil from becoming saturated with the water and making sure that the bacteria get a lot of oxygen. Our other method of promoting these also is to break up the soil. We can use a hoe or a plough to till the soil, to break it up and make sure it doesn't become compacted together, because if it's compacted it's harder for the oxygen to get in, whereas if it's broken up, oxygen can get there to those bacteria that we want. Finally then, the other way in which we help the soil is to give it plenty of organic matter that the organisms can break down and that the bacteria can break down to produce the soil. For instance, in the garden we might add compost. Adding that humus will give the bacteria the nutrients they need and allow them to convert it to nutrients that the plants can use. Or on a farm, maybe the compost, the manure is spread by a muck spreader, and then the bacteria will use that to produce nutrients available for the plants. So that's the last on soil, and for the first 3 sets of notes.